here to uplift and inspire you, for you to set your destiny. Do not let anyone deter you from your life, your choices, and your dreams. It's all about you. Honey, through the humps and the bumps, you'll be all right. Speak for impact. Here to make a change and not stay the same. Here to make a change and not stay the same. Here to make a change and not stay the same. Speak for impact. Here to make a change and not stay the same. Here to make a change and not stay the same. Speak for impact.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Second Sundays, our meaningful conversation. Thank you for joining us today. And I just want to remind you the definition. Meaningful is quality, it's purpose, it's making our lives rich. And of course, conversation is talk, it's informative, where we can share with one another, where we can exchange. So at the end of the day, it is all about you. We are here for you. We are here to enlighten each other with meaningful conversation that serves purpose. And individually, we all have a purpose. And Charles, I know that you have a purpose. You have a purpose in my life. So I just want to say I appreciate you.
I
How you
appreciate
doing
you.
today?
I'm great. I appreciate you back, and I'm glad to be here on another segment on this journey that we're taking to be able to speak for impact.
Yes, most definitely. I've been having some amazing conversations throughout the last couple weeks, including with you. And so today I wanted to talk about how your circle matters. And, Charles, I know you know for sure that your circle matters, right? Because you're a businessman, you're an entrepreneur, you're a father, all these different things where you have to work with other folks, right? Even if sometimes you don't want to, right? Some of us
Oh
have
yeah.
those experiences, at work. But again, in your personal life, we want to talk about because this is about us enriching each other, right? So we want to serve purpose. So this is why it matters about your circle because your circle can take you up or your circle can take you down, right? And
Absolutely.
sometimes our circle folks are within seasons, right? Everyone is not meant to stay in our lives. And I honestly believe that we are all here for a purpose. And sometimes we're here to teach people compassion, to teach people empathy, sometimes to people understanding. But I believe that's where our strengths come from, right? Especially those who have, colorful backgrounds, may we say.
Indeed.
Um, it has served purpose in our lives. It's given us strengths to start our businesses. It's given us courage to be better individuals, right? So again, your circle matters, So I would welcome Tanya. Hey, Tanya, how you doing?
Wonderful. I'm having a little technical difficulty, so I'm going to sign myself out. I'm hearing two conversations, so I'm going to
Okay,
sign out and
okay,
join you again.
okay. Well, we appreciate you. So I guess Charles, we'll start with you then. Can you touch on that a little bit about how your circle, I mean, whether it's your personal or your business life, how has your circle impacted you, good or bad or indifferent?
Actually, it's a little bit of both. I think when you have a good circle, everybody's communicating. Everybody has a role that they play in cohabitating. Meaning, especially on a business level, if you're
Mhm.
working towards a goal and your communication level is there, even if you have individual goals united into like the bigger purpose, I think it's still a factor in how you go about your day to day. So it's vital to have that communication when it's good. When it's bad, it's the obvious it's the obvious hit on that journey that there's no communication, or someone's not pulling in their weight, or you see somebody going 100 miles and you're only going 2. So there's some, I got to keep looking back and checking you or whatever to find out what's going on. So your circle can be a plus or a minus. I think what I've learned in my life, my business life, even personal,
Mhm.
we all should be motivated to evolve, and everybody's evolution is different. So, in fact, we're going to know as your business or your personal life grows who's going to really stay in your circle and who's not. Some people are meant to be here for whatever season. Some people are meant to be your day ones, whatever the case may be. It's important to be able to kind of check yourself at every level to enhance that. So it's never really indifferent for me. It's either or. Either you're going to be in my circle or you're not. And then, or and it should be the other way around too. Like, I should put in max effort to be able to do it and understand where your flaws are and everything else that comes with it. But it's super, super important.
Yeah. And you can apply those things. I'm thinking business, and I'm also thinking work. It applies to different relationships, but I will go back to purpose. The folks who are in our lives temporarily, or whatever, if it may not even continue today, right? Those folks have served a purpose in our lives. We just don't recognize it because we get caught up in our emotions. And as we all know, emotions do not have intellect, y'all. So we have to call a spade, right? So, okay, so I'm going to use that as an example, Charles. So, yeah, there are some people, like you said, some people don't pull our weight, but that person served a purpose in your life. That person is giving you insight. That person is building up your strength. That person is allowing you to be more strategic. And that person is allowing you to redefine your boundaries. So, this is what I'm saying. Every single person has a purpose in our life, right? And like I've shared like my little funky little background, coming from foster care, coming from abandonment. I believe the Lord set me up for that because he knew I needed to be resilient. Though it happened when I was quite young, you know. I was 4 years old when I faced my first abandonment, and that was from my mother. So that's devastating, right? For a mother to walk out on her children for whatever reason, right? Because I'm not going to fault her. She's not here and she had her own challenges. So I'm not even going there. I'm just speaking on purpose. So my abandonment, though it was challenging and it was hurtful and it was confusing, it gave me purpose. It allowed me to be stronger. It allowed me not to rely so much on individuals, but my faith, right? That I was even introduced to as a youngster. So again, everyone serves purpose, whether good, bad, or indifferent. But what happens is we allow those emotions, those doggone emotions that are just have no intellect to get in the way of why we are here. Um, so I said something crazy the other day. I said, I wish I could remember my spiritual purpose, why I was placed here, right? Or why I chose to be here, whatever, or however it works out, right? Choice given, I don't know. But we all serve a purpose, and it's always to help elevate the next person. And so I find like as I've gotten older that these challenges are here to make us better, but it's how we deal with it and how we see it for what it is. Are we calling a spade a spade? Or are we getting caught up down a rabbit hole that we can actually not solve because it has nothing to do with us? So again, just growing and figuring it out. Yes, we all have purpose. Tanya, would you like to add anything to that?
I think you said beautifully uh, what it is, like your story just was, and this, there's still the foster care is still going on. There's still mothers who we don't know their circumstances, what circumstances they are in, and they have to leave the child. But the child, what I notice is the childhood trauma is either you live in it or you transform out of that. And you said beautifully, you transformed yourself. There's no perfect childhood. There's no perfect parent. There's no perfect world. And in keeping that story, it is your story. You know that it did happen. It did happen. You were in the system and you came out beautifully. And where you touching, moving, and inspiring everybody. And you have a mission and you are doing something. Or somebody would have the same trauma, but they say, oh, pity me, poor me, the world wasn't there for me, and I'm going to make sure I make myself, keep myself miserable and make other miserable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what we deal with. These are the people who come in our life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we see the season changes. We say, no, doesn't align. Their values don't align with me. I need to move on.
Mm-hmm.
But they after 10 years, they're probably in the same place, or they never ask for help or reach out or say, no, I think this human body, every day what I say, I have a gratitude and forgiveness. My mechanism is working. 70,000 thoughts are coming. My eyes, when I wake up, I say, thank you. I can see, I can touch, I can feel. I can,
Yeah.
all my five senses are working. And then, yes, those 70,000 thoughts, there's maybe 10 positive. Rest is all alert, 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 alert. This happened, that happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Or the news. The biggest negativity, what I notice is all that social media and the news we see with the eyes, and that image stays with us.
Mm-hmm.
And that never leaves us. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I have turned off the TV many years ago. I don't even know how to turn on a TV now, because I just see, because being a visual artist, everything I see, it stays with me. Do I need to carry the whole world burden and that what's going on? Yes, I still have empathy and compassion. With my power, I will give back, but I do not need all the extra music and pop up and
Mm-hmm.
the feed. And so that's my choice. This person is toxic, I stay away from it. This person is okay, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll see how long our friendship will last. If they're
Mm-hmm.
good, I'll keep them. If not, then I move on. And it's just like sitting in a train, taking a life train. On that train, many passengers going to come.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents maybe stay with you, and people will come and go. And that's how I always see. And that's very, very important. Our own suffering, how long we're going to hold on to suffering, and when we're going to get treated, and what are we putting this suffering on others,
Mm-hmm.
making them feel guilty and shame. That is very, very important. And we got a beautiful platform and a beautiful place where you are, if you didn't have that background, your life would be different. So
Mm-hmm.
you had that, you created into a flower. The seed
Mm-hmm.
was given to you. You did not boil the seed. You planted it, and you're still watering it.
Yeah.
That's what
I,
Thich Nhat Hanh says. When your seed is given, you water your seed. And that's the seed is, at this moment, the seed is getting watered.
I
So
also
thank you.
think that's where generational curses can be broken in regards to how you fit in someone's circle, not just family circle, but just in general. There's a lot of habits or baggage that we bring or we acknowledge, and we try to change those ways in how we conduct ourselves, business, personal. Um, very important that we all be self aware. And I think that's at least where to start. Like, I know if I'm forming a circle, um, I'm already understanding that they may or I may have excess baggage that will probably come out in the forefront, and it's just really a matter of how you handle it, and what you do in terms of communicating it. And that's why I think if you're in a relationship, or if you're doing business, or if you're handling certain things, you have to be transparent in order for you to grow, because if you don't, you're going to have a ton of things, be it if it's in your life and then you're bringing it to your business, and you're going to create that energy there where people don't even know what you have going on, but you're still feeling that excess whatever that's going on. So you're bringing that whatever kind of energy, be it if it's positive or negative or anything like that. That's why the key to self awareness and growth is understanding what those negative barriers are and breaking those generational curses and be aware of it so you can do the opposite. That's what I try to do when, my own personal life as well. Like, coming from a situation that I was in, I never wanted to be how my dad was, right? I wanted to be the opposite. So I overcompensated somewhat too, but that's never good too. You have to find a medium balance or an easy balance where you can be able to relate, create your own identity as far as who you want it to be, and then go from there. But back to the circle thing, I think that creates a very, very important dynamic when you're dealing with people is how do they fit in your circle and vice versa. Because for me, I have baggage, but I'm very transparent now. I think as I got older, I'm more or less like, okay, this is who I am. Either, you're going to understand me or you're not.
Mhm.
Do I have flaws? Absolutely. Do I embrace what they are so I can try to get better every day? Absolutely. We all should do that. But the unfortunate part of where we try to do it within a circle, people don't want to admit that. And that's where some of the flaws come in.
Very well said. Blame is easy. Blame game is very easy game. He
Mhm.
didn't do, the government do this. Nobody gave us this. But you forgot
Mhm.
about being authentic, being real, and being true to yourself, or being, that is the key. If you become authentic with yourself, a body gives you all the signal. It tells you everything,
Mhm.
and then not be avoidant. Because when we avoid, now he or she should have done this for me. I was unable to do that. So saying my parents were refugee at 12 when India and Pakistan partition happened, and they lost everything. They were
Mhm.
refugee at 12 and a half, age of 12 and a half. But there was 20 million people uprooted and 2 million were killed. My dad said we were part of everybody. It wasn't, we were not alone. But how they transformed themselves, how they got their lives together. And
Mhm.
I have the full gratitude for that. And when
Mhm.
people say this is my ancestors' furniture or my ancestors' stuff, we have none of that. Nothing from our grandparents, nothing
Mhm.
for our parents, because they left everything. They abandoned and they were refugee in their own country,
Mhm.
and they were called refugee. Here they got a freedom from British colonial rule, and they were now called refugee because we would trade you with each other. And it's so
Mhm.
sad. It is very sad.
And that's where you came from, and that's where you rose and you shine. So I love how you chose the word seed and watered it. You became that rose. And I say this, I have a girlfriend, her name is Cindy, and she always says I'm her rose in the concrete. And now I can say you're my rose in the concrete too, because to come from that, ripped from your country and everything that your family, your belongings, and then have to start all over in a strange place, not only just one, I'm sure, relocations and,
Yes.
just trying to figure out the politics and the paperwork and the insecurities that go along with that. Like, I couldn't imagine what you had gone through. But just to see who you are today, not to
Yeah.
dismiss that with my butt, but and to the woman you are today, I mean, you are amazing. You watered your seed and you're an amazing artist. Your artwork is absolutely gorgeous. You're talented. Obviously, you're world traveled. I mean, every time I text with you, you're coming from Canada or going back to Canada for something, a film festival, a speaking event. So,
Thank
someone
you.
like you, Tanya, I can say you are part of my circle. And this is what I wanted to get back to because I'm truly grateful for my circle that I have around me. I have such amazing folks. So I was a guest lecturer a couple of weeks ago in a sociology class. And I said to the students, I said, look in your phone. Who are the 5 people that you have last communicated with? I said to those students, if these folks haven't taken you to dinner, given you some advice, given you some money, elevated you in the right direction, taken you on a trip, you need to get new friends.
Hmm.
And some of them were like, oh God, are you serious? And I'm like, yes. I said, if you have a paper that's due the next day and your friend calls you to go out to party, what are you going to do? And someone says, I'm going to go party. I go, you need a new friend. Why would your friend stop you from elevating, right? This is about our circle. Who's pouring into us? Who's supporting us? Who's introducing us to new wines and new flavors and to new arts and new music, right? Who's giving us advice? Who is in our ear, right? And so right now, I'm walking in gratitude. I love my circle. My circle has been supportive, loving, kind, and I appreciate them. I have some folks who critique me. They've looked at some of my work and they're like, do you have a misspelling? Oh, I'm like, I'm so grateful. Thank you for finding that. I have someone, they were like, oh, I think you should go this route instead of that route. And I considered it and I said, thank you. I appreciate that. So I feel like I am gifted right now with different folks coming in my lives with different expertise and different suggestions. And I'm able to grow and elevate from that. Matter of fact, we're having an event coming up. That's about elevation and empowerment. And we need those folks around us, like who's teaching us how to get grants? How are people helping us get our business license, right? Do you have your fictitious business name, right? Are you licensed? Are you certified to get government grants? So, this is what this is all about. We want to elevate to empower. And that's what my show and my premise is always about, individual growth. So collectively, when we come together, we're stronger, we're mighty, and we're confident in what we believe in, right? Because again, we all have a story. I was told no man leaves this world unscathed, right? And some of us, we water our seeds. Thank you again, Tanya, because you have watered your seed. Charles, you have watered your seed, and I know my seed has kind of been flooded sometimes. I I appreciate both of y'all, like in my life, even Charles and I, we met 3 years ago or a little bit more during the pandemic. We met one time in person, but he was like, how can I help you? What do you want from me? And I was like, Charles, I would like my own show. And 3 years later, he calls me and he was like, I'm ready. You ready? And it wasn't like we skipped a beat or anything, and immediately started planning. And so these are the circles that I'm talking about. Like, not everyone's in your life every day. You don't have to talk to someone every day or
Yep.
every
Yep.
month, but when you do come together, it's meaningful conversation. It has purpose. You're
Yep.
pouring into each other. It's not the daily gossip about work or what's going on with the family or in the news. We ain't got no control over that. Like Tanya, like you said, we ain't got no control over that. But what we do have control over is what we can do for each other and
Yep.
how we can support one another. And I appreciate everyone who has logged on live or not live, but giving us support, because this is real support. And it costs nothing. Turn on your phone, listen to this amazing conversation. If you want to join in, you can. And that's what it's all about, us coming together as community and seeing where we can go, how we can grow intellectually, how we can grow financially, right? Because we all kind of want to live good, right? And so, again, who's in your circle?
Can I throw something out there? You said something important about pouring into each other, and I must say, and I'm just gonna talk freely about just my journey, not just through this station, but just in general. Like, I feel like I re-evaluate my circle on a daily basis. And when I say that, I'm talking about, how you just mentioned about pouring into each other, right? Like, there's some people who do, there's some people who unfortunately don't, especially when all they got to do is do certain things for free or just say, you know what, I'm proud of you. I look at what you're doing, I'm proud of you. Me personally, as much as I've built what I've built for the last 18 years, I've only had like maybe two or three real honest people to just say, hey, you know what? I'm proud of what you did. I see you, I appreciate you, or whatever. Sometimes, and I'm just saying this just for me because that's why I have to realize I have to reevaluate my circle on a regular basis because I pour into a lot of people. Do I get it back? No. Do I need to? Do I deserve, like, I feel like I need to get it? Absolutely. But I think the premise of all of this is to acknowledge when it's not and start unfollowing or not. You know what? I'm pouring into you, but you're not pouring into me. And I give it time. It's not like I do it on a, okay, well, he or she didn't do this, so I'm just
Mhm.
going to go ahead and not do that. No, I give it time. And whatever that time looks like, and if I'm not getting poured back into, or if no one's not pouring into me, then I start evaluating what the hell is going on. I'm doing all this, but I just, in me, I'm simple. I just want appreciation,
Mhm.
someone to, and this is how I forge my business, because I pay attention to what you need. I study what you want, and I try to do my best to provide it. And
Mhm.
all I want is the same in return. Um, and a lot of people these days just don't seem to do it because they're quote unquote busy, but at the same time, everybody's on their phones like 24/7. So figure that out. I don't get it. But you get what I mean. Like, pouring into each other is vital in what we do moving forward. And if you don't get it, start reevaluating the people that surround you,
Mhm.
because you may, and Jalinda, I told you this, and I'm free to say and share. If I'm the only boss in the room, then I need to go to another room,
Mhm.
because other bosses is supposed to be able to share that wisdom, knowledge, wanting to pay it forward. That's what I provide and do for my business. So I do it at nauseum.
Mhm.
But if you don't get that back in return, I've had few people say, hey, you know what? I see what you're doing and I'm going to take this up a level for you. That's realness. You know what?
Mhm.
I see what you're doing to pay it forward. How can I pay it forward to you? What do you need? I've gotten that maybe like 10% of my life.
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
crazy when all I do is provide 100% effort. Go figure.
I mean, what you're speaking of is true. I'm trying to think of biblically the story. Was it Timothy or the weeping Timothy? He's giving the good word and he doesn't feel like they're deserving it, and he's sad because it's less like I'm supposed to be spreading the good word and no one's receiving it. So I get like the pouring back into you. And this is where, we mention boundaries, right? This is where we have to love ourselves because, everyone has a different agenda, right? And I don't like to speak too much negatively because there's a lot of that in the world, but loving yourself and having self care is part of drawing boundaries. You have to draw boundaries. You have to know what's acceptable in your life and what's not. And this reflects your morals and your values, right? This picture is my good friend. She invited me to Vegas. She's part of my circle. I don't see her like I used to because she's moved to Texas, but I want to give a shout out to Sarah. Known her since I was 21 years old. She's been a wonderful friend and she will forever be in my circle. We've had our ups and downs and in betweens, and we've even separated for a while, but we've come back together. And she will always be part of my circle, including her family. So those things are important. Reevaluating yourself, having those boundaries, because you have to know what's good for you, right? And again, like even my girlfriend I mentioned, sometimes, we went our separate ways because I was working on something and she was working on something, but it didn't necessarily align. And so we went our separate paths, but we eventually came back together because our friendship was real, right? Despite the other shenanigans that were going on in our lives that were sometimes dysfunctional, sometimes not. But we still came back together because our friendship has always been real. And I think too, that goes back to what type of relationships we have. Some are business, some are friendship. I had another friend where we separated for a while. They got caught up gossiping about me a little bit, and I found out about it. And when I brought it to their attention, they apologized. And I said, I appreciate you apologizing. And you know what they said to me? They said, because I value our relationship. And so, as you mentioned, no one is perfect, right? We all make mistakes, but how much do you value the relationship? And when I first shared something personal, she said to me, thank you for trusting me with that information. And I thought that was very big of her to say that. So again, there's business relationships that are sometimes temporary, just like working relationships, right? They're your work BFF until somebody quits, right? Then you kind of don't see or talk to each other again. But our personal relationships, can be very long lasting. Not to say that businesses can't, but generally that business relationship will turn into a real friendship, right? And so that's something that's different where you guys can go out to dinner, together, or there was a group of us, there was four of us, we went to dinner a couple nights ago. And what I love about it is they're all older than me. They're all older than me, and it's male and female, and they're all experts in their field. Yeah, there's different things going on in their lives, but our business relationship has formed into a friendship where we can have personal time together, because not everyone is going to break bread. You're not going to invite everyone to your home, right? And so those are two different types of things. But again, I just want to go back to Charles. We have to protect ourselves. We have to reevaluate. We have to have boundaries, because sometimes people will take advantage of our kindness for weakness. And, sometimes we can get caught up even in manipulation, right? So, yes, we do have to reevaluate and draw, our boundaries in the sand, so we don't get taken advantage of. And so we keep also those relationships and perspectives, because sometimes we can be expecting too much from someone that didn't promise us anything. So
Well, we'll see that. Let me ask you, ladies, this question because I feel like you're 100% right, and also the lines can get blurred. But Tanya, and Jalinda, I think, and the listeners listening, I think when you're around someone and you're doing business, you have an agenda. Like I use my platform as if you have a business, use my business for your business and
mhm.
grow it. And then if you don't grow it, then that means you're not doing stuff for you. And to me, it pivots back to pay it forward. Like if you're not paying it forward to yourself, how are you going to be able to be productive in my circle? Like that's going to be a little hard to do, right? So how do you feel when you have those moments of people that might be in your circle right now today who's struggling with themselves but still want to be in your circle?
That's okay though, Charles. I just had this experiment with the event that I'm putting on. I'm working with a friend of mine. She has her own business. She wants to grow, she wants to expand. My personality is different because I got a little ADHD. So I'm going to hit the ground running, rolling, rocking. But all I have is me. I don't have any other responsibilities. I don't have any small children. I don't have to care for anyone. She does. She has family, she has obligations. She's in Georgia now caring for her father, right? So I have to understand where she's at. So now I have to use my common sense and say, Jalinda, you move at a different speed than her. So the Lord brought her in your life, I believe, to slow my behind down. I had to reevaluate our relationship because I think she's dynamic. I just move a little bit faster. So I believe she was meant to slow me down, to teach me patience, to teach me partnership and collaboration. And all I had to do was check in with her, and she checked right back in with me. And so it all worked out in the end. So again, sometimes people don't even want it as much as you think that they do. Or sometimes they think that they want it, and then they realize the responsibility, and that they have to be accountable, and they don't know how to back out of that, right? And I've done that. I've signed up for a workshop and then not attend. I've signed up for a webinar and then not attend. I've signed up for things and then not attend. I've signed up for things knowing that I'm not going to attend. So, I mean, everyone, they have to know thyself. And again, if they're willing to be honest with themselves and whoever they're working with, that's very vital. And again, that's being authentic, and that's being genuine, saying, you know what, this was too much for me. I'm going to have to back out.
Tanya, your thoughts, and before you say something, just
I,
to me, I think the full on transparency thing in how you live your life is going to be vital to how people evolve. Like, again, it goes back to the age old thing that we've talked about when it comes to that. Like, if you're vulnerable, and when I say vulnerable, that should not be a weakness. That should
yeah,
be a strength in regards to who you are and what you want to do for your business. If you can't drop down to your knees and be like, look, I'm trying to do this, but I don't know what direction. Like, I really and truly want to put that effort in. Like, I think it's important for people to be transparent and say that. Like, I don't have all the answers, but you better believe I'm going to go find it. Because if you really and truly believe in what you're doing and how you're trying to provide and handle things, that right there displays a certain strength and a certain skill set about who you are. that should be maximized to the fullest. So any right person is going to try to go hard for you because that's what I believe in. Your thoughts?
Yeah, beautifully said. I agree with both of you guys. So, like situation, we don't have. We are in an age we don't have young children at home. We don't have a lot of commitments. So when we were younger, our commitment was different. Yes, we want to do everything. We wanted to, like for your event, like next week. I think your event is in my schedule, but I don't know right now. And I do. We communicate. When you said please come and join, I was unfortunately out of town each time,
Mhm.
right? But that was the beauty. I did not avoid. I did not made a story out of it. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't be there. You didn't say you forgive me. Yes, things happen. So,
Yeah.
but I think being authentic and being real and being saying that yes, I'll be out of town, and you could say I want to stop inviting her because every time I invite, she's out of town, right? And that's not going to happen on your side. And my side is we're still going to be committed. It's just the timing just does not
Mhm.
work. And a lot of time, what happens is people assume things. Jalinda has all the time. She should. Why? How come she haven't contacted me? How come she didn't do this? I could make up all that story. But what about on my side? See, these fingers points this side. Before we
Mhm.
point this way, he or she could have would have done that. Now, am I holding myself accountable
Mhm.
for some of that stuff too? It's not about the other person. So when you come clean, being authentic, being real, with both of you are saying, there's all everybody's life is very busy in the Silicon Valley. We all have something going on, right?
Yes.
And people like us who want to make a difference, we have a schedule, we have something comes up, but we are still doing it. We show up for each other,
Mhm.
and if people can learn that, that will be wonderful. If you can't show up, be nice, and tell them being playing games don't help, because
No.
eventually it's going to come back to you. So being clear, being nice, and being authentic, it is you feel better, you sleep better.
Be
Yeah.
nice, be real. Just be real. Just be
Yeah,
honest
exactly.
about whatever
Exactly.
it is. You know what? I can't do it, or I don't
Yeah,
believe in it. I thought I did, but I don't. But it's
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
I'm
But
telling you, ladies, I've been through many, and Denia knows because she's listening right now, because she's like the only survivor of like the multiple generations of people that I tried to bring in into this quote unquote circle. And let's just say in my 18 years, there's been maybe like 12 to 13 people. One is still here. Shout out to Denia. One has passed away, and then the other 10, say they wanted to be down but wasn't. And and again, life is lifing. I get it. Everybody has stuff going on. But if you
Mhm.
really and truly want to tap into whatever it is you want to do, just be honest and be like, you know what? I have some real life stuff going on. I'm gonna table this for now, but I'm gonna let you know how life is right now before I tap back in. But again, we've been saying this all through the show. Transparency. If you're not real, it's just going to be hard for you to be real for yourself and others moving forward.
Charles, I want to add to that. So, unfortunately, we all are raised differently. Like Tanya said, when I text and say, join if you can, right? She will tell me she's out of town. I was fortunate, and I mentioned it on one show how about four people said, I'm previously obligated, right? And I appreciate them taking the time to even do that. Unfortunately, not everyone is built like that. Everyone was raised different with level of respect, like I find it odd, if you're Black and you never went to church, but there's people like that, right? Everyone's raised differently. And we have to respect that. And then everyone comes from a different background. Not everyone is able to articulate themselves. And it's really sad because people don't want to let people down. And so they will do avoidance instead of feeling confident to say that I'm not able to do this. And we're all adults. So we don't even have to give a reason. We just have to say, I'm not available, or it's
exactly.
not what I thought that it was. But not everyone is able to articulate how they feel, and that comes with that level of professionalism, the way you were raised. How did you communicate in your family? Did you go to business school? Right? I feel like, yeah, my grandmother was an evangelist, My one of my uncles was a pastor. So in my family, everyone talked a lot. There were secrets, but you kind of knew where everyone stood, right? Because everyone expressed themselves. But nobody was disrespectful in my family. There was no yelling going on. There was no name calling. There was no disrespect. So I wasn't raised like that. I wasn't raised in a house of yelling, but some people were, right? So everyone's background is different. Then I was fortunate enough to go to graduate school. Graduate school, I love my education. Shout out to USF. They taught us how to deal with rejection because London Breed, she graduated a year before I did. And so she was the talk of the town in my public administrative courses. And so they taught us how to be let down by mayors and council members, to schedule an appointment with them, to get the appointment, wait 30 days, and for it to be canceled. They prepared us when we go into meetings where people don't see eye to eye with the folks we think we should see eye to eye with, and their true colors come out. I'm seeing this as a Santa Clara County commissioner serving on human rights. I thought we were all for human rights, but behind closed doors, Charles, we are not all for everybody's human rights. And as a Black woman, yes, that has been very clear to me. But I'm on a panel where I'm with folks from India, from Pakistan, from different parts of the Middle East, a good 5 or 6 folks. I got some Latina folks on there. So everyone comes from these different backgrounds, these different beliefs, and they all articulate themselves differently or not. So it can kind of be unfortunate.
That's what we're supposed to be here for. We're supposed to be here for that diversity. But I know you know because you just said it. Like everybody has weird agendas in certain cases.
I didn't
But
say weird. Don't quote me on that because I don't
well, at
call
least
anybody weird.
let me say it. Like some people do though. Some people would love to watch circles burn for whatever reason. Some people would love to just be so self-absorbed where it's really all about me. And if it's not about the circle, then it turns into a bizarre atmosphere that most of us can be able to peep game and really check. Because to me, I think as I've gotten older, I think I would tell this to people that I'm close to, that my tolerance level is a little bit lower. My patience is probably a little bit lower as well, but my expectations is super high because
You can't, that's not fair. That's not fair to them. That is not fair to them. The only reason that would make that fair is if you communicated to them what your expectations are of them and they actually agree to
that
that.
that is
That
that is
is
what
not
I do though. That is
right.
what I've
So,
done.
and that has to be a regular evolving conversation. And then
That
you have to know when it's not. That's like a bad relationship,
but
right?
see, here's the thing though. If you come into business with someone and you say this is my top 5 things that needs to be done on a consistent basis, on a regular basis, day to day, this is what your expectations are, and you set that standard. I put my hands dirty with everybody else. So we're all doing the same thing. So if everybody has excuse on excuse on excuse and get mad at me because I'm trying to hold you accountable for the things that we agreed upon, then that's where you start seeing dissensions because they're making excuses for the things that they don't do when we've already set the expectations. So then I'm running a business. All I want is transparency. And if that's not provided, then we're going to have a ton of issues. And then that's going to shrink your whole business model down. I'm talking about business in a circle. And even relationships too. Like some people, it's about growth and evolution. And if people aren't clear about, you know what, I know you gave me these 5 things, Charles, but I can't do it, then let me know. At the end of the day, let me know. Because if you don't be transparent after you say you can do it, then we're going to have all kinds of problems. That's why some of the
So let me
patients
ask
that
you
I
this,
had.
Charles. How
Mhm.
many chances do you give a person? So if someone doesn't follow through for you, how many chances do you get before you protect yourself? Because you have to be accountable too. You
For
can't be
sure.
letting, because if you're running a business, I'm thinking, are they an employee? Did y'all sign a contract? Like what the frick happened in your business? What type of business are you running? But I would say, how many chances do you give a person before you write them up, basically, or need to reevaluate that relationship? Because you have to be accountable. If someone is not coming through for you, I'm going to say for me, if someone doesn't come through for me the first time, I'm not going to ask them a second time, because
Wow.
now I know I'm not going to put myself in that situation. I have to be accountable for the daily decisions that I make, even in my little entrepreneurship. Like, there's a lot of stuff writing. So if you don't come through the first time, I can't afford to give you a second time. But that's me and my
I,
business. My friendship
and I
is
got you.
different.
See,
Friendship, I'll give you a couple chances
yeah.
maybe if I really
See,
like you.
See,
But
and
business,
for me,
I can't
to
afford it.
answer your question, I think I personally, and maybe I've lived a very naive business life to think that, a lot of these people really and truly care. So my chances have been like, a lot, like probably more than most, right? Because I'm literally naive to the point where it's just, I know you care, but maybe I can help you do the, right? But Jalinda, because we kind of talked about this a little bit too, but I've gotten to the point now, that's where what I told you, and I'll tell you,
That's
Tanya, and everybody
weird.
else, where yeah, exactly. So this is where it's different for me now, because to me, it's just like, look, what you just said, Jalinda, is what I'm learning about myself right now. Like, if I don't get that kind of hit on a business level and you're in my circle right away, oh, we got problems, and that problems might lead you to out that door. But my communication has always been there, though. Like, okay, how come you didn't do it? Okay, you didn't do it this way, maybe let me help you try, and then give them another opportunity to do it. And if it's still not done, then you got to go. It's just that simple. But chances, as far as that goes now, I have more to lose if I continue to just kind of keep getting myself sucked into that vortex of nothing, now more than ever. So that's what I mean when I say now my patience is super, super thin when it comes to certain things. Because if I set a boundary and an expectation and an effort level that needs to be matched, and you say you can do it and then you don't, oh yeah, no, that circle starts to chip away piece by piece, every second, every minute, every hour of days. And I ain't got time for that.
Okay, Tanya, I know our
Oh.
time is ticking, but I want you to add to this, because you're a businesswoman and you work with so many different diverse folks, in the art and the entertainment industry. What do you got to say?
So owning a full service salon in Mountain View started in 1989 till 2023. So a lot of patience. I give people 3 chances because time. So now, starting in my 20s, now in my, this age, which is now after the age has no numbers, the patience has changed. The growth has changed. When I was 20 some year old, my growth was very little. I was very naive. I was just a people pleaser. Whatever was coming, it was all perfect. It was all, and people were different too. People were nicer. People were, I learned from people. So they I learned from them and they learned from me. And now at this time, now the patience is different, technology is different. Now you can just say, okay, I don't want to deal with this person. I'll block them. I just done. That's it. No more. Delete, go. And so our mannerism, our growth is very, very different. And in the next 10 years, what's going to happen? I don't know. We're all going to have an avatar speaking, avatar doing everything. Nobody will see anybody's face. So I don't know. Things that what I've noticed, my parents got married in their 20s. So we were born to young parents. I got married in my 22, and I was a young mother I was in my 20s. And now I don't have any grandchildren. I don't have any, but I've noticed that the style of growth, parenting has changed. Every 20 years, the style is completely changed. Let's see, our grandparents' time was kids were playing outside. They would get punished. They could slap them. It was all okay. And then my parents' time come. No, 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 no. You don't do all that. And our time came in the 80s. No, they are the most wonderful thing. You did great. You did wonderful. You are just, praise, praise, praise. And now the 90 kids, they had a technology coming in. The now new era, parents just like it's all about a note. You don't give them any childhood trauma. Don't do this. These are the same people we are dealing with. These are the children turned into human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And what part of the world they are coming, they have all different perspective. Some are here to take and some are here to give.
Mm-hmm.
So the takers are always going to have a different perspective, and the giver is going to always give. Like you and I are, we unconditionally giving right now. So
Mm-hmm.
other thing what I've learned is simplify my life. I simplified anybody toxic, anybody, say unkind words, done.
Mm-hmm.
No more. 10
Mm-hmm.
years ago, I would be different. So now with the way the world is moving so fast, we, our age and the kids are younger than us, we're going to be seeing so much stuff that will be mind-boggling. So the rules have changed, styles have changed, thinking has
Yeah.
changed.
I really like how you said block, delete, because I do the same thing. I don't give excuses. I don't even let people know I'm a block them. I was dating someone and he's a good dude, but I just couldn't keep him in my life. And I blocked him and he called me on a different number and he left a message. He was like, "Did you block me?" And then he was like, "Well, whatever I did, I apologize." And I appreciate him apologizing because, like I said, he's a good dude. It just didn't work out, and I had to block him, right, so I can move on in my life. And things are a little bit different now, so I do like that. Again, it depends, but I'm gonna just say I appreciate my circle, my girlfriends that I have right now. I'm meeting with a girlfriend on Thursday, and I appreciate her. We meet like once every 2 months for dinner, and she's someone I can vent to, share with. But I'm gonna say, like, she takes care of me. She wines me and she dines me, and she treats me well. And I'm talking about, she'll take me to Morton, she'll take me to Left Bank. So whatever I want, she'll put in the text, "Where do you want to go eat at? You want to go to Santana Row?" So she's someone who can pour into me financially that I cannot pour back, right? And I felt guilty at the beginning of our relationship. And I basically said, I can't afford the same type of lifestyle that you have. And she let me know. She was like, "As long as you're with me, don't worry about anything." And I've had a couple of girlfriends tell me that, they're professionals, they don't have children, they don't have obligations, and they enjoy treating people well, especially the people who treat them well. And so at first, I had a hard time accepting that, but I embrace it now. And that's why I was challenging folks to say yes to anyone who offers you something from a sincere place, because people were offering me gifts. And Charles, he's giving me a gift. He helps me with my website. And I had a problem with that. I'm like, "Can I cash app you? Like, what's up?" And that's just me wanting to be in my comfort zone and keep my boundaries and my walls up. But he's like, "Nah." He was like, "I'm a friend. I want to help too." And so I truly appreciate that, because you can't, those are things you can't buy, right? And so sometimes I feel like I can't do enough for him, like what he does for me. But again, as long as the person appreciates you, it's not going to be exact. And that's what I've learned. Whatever someone pours into you, you may not be able to pour that exact same, but you can be a friend. And we have different types of friends, at different levels. Some are
Yeah.
associates, some are besties. But again, your circle matters, and your circle should be elevating you and loving on you and supporting you
I
at the
think
end
the
of the day.
acknowledgement goes a long way, especially if you
Mm-hmm.
know the capacity. It doesn't have to. You don't have to match me financially. Just in appreciation, you should. Like, I think
Mhm.
that goes a long way. I think that's important because a lot of people's finances, you line up somebody with somebody else is going to have more or less. So you're going to have
Mhm.
to adjust and still cohabitate in a circle that you're in. So it's important to just kind of figure out what's up and figure out where these, but see, Jalinda, you were transparent. You said, "You know what? This is all I got." So you still cool with me? Great. You know what? I'm trying different ways to be able to do what needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? So it's good. And can I say one thing real quick about the whole blocking and things like that when it comes to that? Tanya and Jalinda, love you guys for blocking. I just literally just unfriend them and they unfriend themselves. And then if they hit me back and say why, oh, I'll tell you why. But and I think that's, to me, I would rather just do it that way. But some people do it different. I don't mind what you guys do, because out of sight, out of mind, it's all good. And I had this one person, this was like a few months ago. She calls me out of the blue after the fact, and this is like maybe 6 months removed from even having dialogue. But sends me a text and was like, "Hey, how are you doing? I'm just checking in on you." And I'm like, "Huh, okay." I'm different these days, and I'm like, "Okay, what's up?" "Oh, nothing. I just wanted to see what's going on." I was like, "Well, I haven't heard from you in a while, so what's up?" "Oh, nothing." Okay. Like, like, to me, it's just it's that kind of weird kind of energy. It's just kind of like, okay, so out of all this time, you're just gonna call me now, so or just hit me up now. Like, some people, they may look at certain things, and then come to find out, she was like, "Yeah, I just wanted to give you a call because I miss your energy, I miss this," but you didn't give it back to me, so we already
Hmm.
had that discussion. So some people will have those thoughts about like what it is that you did for them later, that used to be in that circle, and be like, "Damn, I miss that person. I miss Tanya, because Tanya used to always do XYZ, and Jalinda used to do all this stuff." And I kind of want to tap in and see how you're doing, and see if I can get a little bit of that back.
Hmm.
But no, you're not. You're not. Like, at the end of the day, it's it. But some people are just like that. But the ones who do that, stop. I'll just leave it at that.
Yes. So again, y'all, we gonna leave on a high note. So again, reevaluate your circle. Look at your circle, the top 5 people that are in your phone, who you've texted with, who you messaged with. Are these people who are supporting you, pouring into you, and you're supporting them and pouring into them? It's a positive relationship where you can come together, whether it's for laughs, whether it's for business, whether it's just for simple pleasures, right? We want to be around people who are going to elevate us and support us at the end of the day. So your circle truly matters. And again, we need to elevate so we can empower one another. I don't know. I can't hear you, Charles.
If Sorry, that was me. If you want to book Jalinda, make sure you go ahead and hit up LeDee71 at Gmail. It's down right here below. Make sure that you are checking out her website, speak-for-impact.com. You can scan that QR code there as well. She also has an event or two that you can check out in the event section on her website as well. And something we're going to spotlight also, Saturday, November 29th, 10 to 11 a.m. Elevate to Empower Wisdom, Wealth, and Wellness. Um, Looking forward to just getting all the information that Jalinda is going to be providing prior to these events that's coming up. And what else you got?
I just want to tell everyone to have an amazing day, and do not forget, you are not your circumstance. You are so much more. You are here for a purpose. You are uniquely designed. So you know what? Just shine, shine, shine. And thank you, Tanya.
Thank you. It's so good
Thank
to
you,
see
Tony.
you. Thank you,
Hey, I love
Charles.
this circle. This circle is full of communication and transparency. I can get with this circle. This circle is nice.
Yes. And
Love
we
it.
need to highlight Tanya too as an artist next time.
Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you.
Well, y'all have a
Speak for Impact is here to uplift and inspire you, for you to set your destiny. Do not let anyone deter you from your life, your choices, and your dreams. It's all about you. Honey, through the humps and the bumps, you'll be all right. Speak for Impact. Here to make a change.